I'm going to show you a recipe for the most fantastic cottage pie. You're going to absolutely love it. It's full of veggies, super healthy. Not only will the kids enjoy it, it'll be really good for them too. Over here I've got potatoes and parsnip, both cut up together, and I'm going to stick that in some boiling water. Okay, so not just potatoes, there's a mix of potatoes and parsnip. While that comes up to the boil, which is going to be our topping for the pie, I'm going to prepare the filling. So into a really hot pan, I've got some beef mince. I'm going to go ahead and throw that in. Now you can hear how hot the pan was. Okay, so I'm just going to break that up. Once your beef has had a couple of minutes to get nice and brown, what you do is you take it out, we're going to strain it, and then take a little bit of the fat off it. You get your pan back onto the heat. We're going to let the heat build up in there again until it's nice and hot, and take my onions with my garlic and my thyme. Give it a good stir. I have a whole lot of butternut pumpkin, and I also have some carrots. So we're going to add this now to the onions, and that's going to cook down. So the pie's got plenty of veggies both inside and in the crust. Right, so once your carrots and pumpkin have had about 5 minutes to start sweating down and soften up a little bit, I've got some tomato paste here, and what this is going to do is bring a real richness to my pie. So throw that in, and it's important that you sort of cook this out a little bit before you add your beef stock. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to roast it out, and it's going to take a little bit of that natural bitterness that is in that tomato paste. So once your tomato paste is roasted out just for a minute or two, and you know that you can sort of see it starting to stick to the pan a little bit, it's just how you want it. The next thing you do is grab your beef stock, add that to your pan, and then add your beef back in. If you pull that off without just dumping it all in, you'll see what juice is left. Now, if it's very oily, you might want to discard it. If it's not too bad, you might be happy just to add it back in. There's not too much oil on that, so I'm going to pour the whole thing back in because there's lots of flavour there. Right, so now that you've got your beef and your beef broth back in there, you want to get yourself a lid and cover it. You're going to simmer it so you can turn it down just a little for about 15 to 20 minutes. So our beef and vegetable mix has got about 10-15 minutes still to go, but our potatoes and parsnips are now done. So I'm going to turn those off, strain the water, lift that back up. So while our potatoes and parsnips are steaming dry, here I have just a little butter and some milk in a saucepan. I'm going to warm that up, and then go ahead and add all of your veg back into the pan. I'm going to just get in there and give it a quick old knock up together. Right, so once you've given that a good old mash up, let's season it, plenty of salt, and then grab that milk and butter, and then I'm just going to slowly add that. Okay, a little bit of elbow grease. Gonna have a little taste. Oh, yum. Tiny bit more salt. You'll notice I season the top with salt because I don't want those little flecks of pepper in there, but I season the base with lots of pepper. Let's have a look at it. Look at that. Delicious and rich. So just a little bit of salt in there, and then plenty of pepper. So once this has a beautiful consistency, make sure you have a taste. Fantastic. So over here, I'm going to pull up my 4 little dishes and literally just come on over and spoon this straight in. Divide it evenly between your 4 ramekins or dishes. So the next thing we do is get our mashed potato and parsnip, and we just sort of add that to the top of each of our pie dishes. 3 and 4. Now, of course, you can do this so many different ways. You can get a piping bag and you can pipe it in and make it look all fancy, or you can keep it super rustic, you can make it nice and smooth. This is the way I like to do it. What I do is I just get it a little bit on top of each one, and then I kind of just push it around, spread it out like that. I quite like it when there's a little bit of texture. So I actually just go over the top there because then you get all these little crispy bits of potato, which I just love. Brush with just a little melted butter. The beautiful thing about making cottage pies, or shepherd's pies for that matter, is you can make them up in a batch. You might only want to serve 1 or 2 tonight, and then you can pop the others in the fridge. Okay, I'm going to pop these in the oven, 190 degrees for about 15 to 20. Have a look at these little beauties.